Year 8 English video on the last chapter, chapter 17 of the novel Once. It starts off with the anaphora. Every one of the 17 chapters starts with the word once. Once I lay in a field somewhere in Poland, not sure if I'm alive or dead. He then lists a few things. You jump off a moving train. Nazis shoot at you with machine guns. You see sharp tree stumps coming at you. You hit the ground hard. You feel like you've smashed your head. And bullets have gone through your chest. You don't survive even though you prayed to God, Jesus, Mary and the Pope and Rick Mail Crompton. That's what happened to poor Chaya. So Felix, one hand holding Chaya's hand, the other Zelda, they jump off the train. Chaya doesn't make it. Zelda is lying next to me. Are you all right, I say. Yes, she is. So Felix and Zelda survive the jump from the train and they're lying in a Polish field somewhere on the way to a death camp. A few interesting issues come up about this. I know he won't let the others suffer. This is Barney. He has metal syringes. He'll put them into a long and peaceful sleep. So Felix is saying it's a good thing that he's going to protect these children from suffering by killing them himself, by injecting drugs into their system, an overdose of drugs. He finishes off by saying, Barney said everybody deserves to have something good in their life at least once. I have more than once. And we leave this story with Zelda and Felix in that field, having escaped the train that's heading to the death camp. Let's have a look at the literary devices that's used in this chapter. There is a literary device that's called bracketing, or an envelope structure. The technical name for this is a Greek word, inclusio. So there are a couple of brackets here, and we can see this because Barney is quoted at the very end of the story. Barney said everyone deserves to have something good in their life at least once. Where did Barney say that? Well, he says it all the way back in page 112. So if we go there, we can see he gives him some boots. I'll tell you the truth. I got you boots because everyone deserves to have something good in their life at least once. So between here, this on page 112 is the beginning of the inclusio bracket, or it's the first bracket. Then right at the end, we have the other bracket where this is quoted again. And you can see that within this bracket of this quote, this inclusio, this bracketed section, the first bracket begins with this and the last bracket begins with exactly the same words. We see that Felix grows into this. He gives something good to other people wherever he can. You see this with the going out for the aspirin, the finding of the carrot. You see it in the stories he tells to the children. You see it in the stories he tells for the dentist, those in the dentist chair. You see it in the toilet paper on the carriage. All of these things are within this bracketed section, and Felix grows into this idea of giving something good. People deserve to have something good once in their life. That's the first literary thing that I'd like to look at. The next is that we can see a few different things at play here. Once, in the very first chapter, once I was in an orphanage and I shouldn't be there. Once I lay in a field in Poland. I don't know if I'm dead or alive. Doesn't matter whether I should be there or not. We see right at the beginning that the glasses are foggy. He can't see clearly because they're steamed up. But here, my glasses are all right too. He now can see clearly. Right at the beginning, he spoke about prayers. And right here, he's talking about unanswered prayer. Right at the beginning, he finds a carrot. Right at the end, he doesn't need a carrot to give him hope. His end could last in a few minutes tomorrow, next year, or I could be a famous author living in a cake shop with a dog called Jumble. Obviously, if you remember, Jumble is the dog from Just William and my best friend Zelda. He has hope. No matter how long he has left in his life, he has some hope. So there are parallels between the first chapter and the last chapter. Let's have a look at themes. There are a number of themes that emerge in this. First is obviously the background of the Holocaust. Now, in Hebrew, they don't talk about the Holocaust. They don't use the English word Holocaust. They talk about the Shoah. Shoah is a Hebrew word for catastrophe. That the Holocaust was a catastrophe with 6 million Jewish men, women and children exterminated in concentration camps and at the barrel of guns or even buried alive. 6 million. That is 2/3 of the Jews living in Europe and 1/3 of the Jews across the world extinguished within a matter of 4 years. So the catastrophe, the Shoah, is a background theme in this, which leads to the next, anti-Semitism. In the face of Jew hatred, anti-Semitism, you see Felix showing brotherly love. He shows it to someone who's not a Jew, Zelda, as well as his Jewish brethren. Zelda is Polish, not Jewish. Parents are Nazi, but Felix still shows love to her. And finally, right at the end, you can see that there's hope. Hope is a big theme in this book, and having courage to hope. There are also some unanswered questions, or some very important questions that the book doesn't grapple with. Where is God in suffering? This is a question that many people have asked for many years. In fact, all people, whether you believe in God or not, have asked that question. Can we hold people accountable for the views of their families and friends? If people associate with people whose views that you find morally upsetting or morally wrong, can you hold those people accountable? This is because Zelda was the daughter of some Nazis. And right at the end, we see that Felix says, I know he won't let others suffer in pain. So we have a very contentious issue now. Should you kill someone in order that someone avoids suffering? So there are some unanswered questions, or questions that are touched on but not dealt with in very much detail in this book, that are big questions that deserve discussion and great thinking about. So this book has a depth to it, that even though it's a children's book, it brings up many, many issues that we can grapple with.